Hey everybody, Craig Severson here with Brightworks Training, and today I'm going to walk you through how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get you ready for lead gen. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to make myself small here so that you can see my screen. And what we've got here is my LinkedIn profile. So we're going to use that as the example, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the more important parts to getting your profile ready so that when people come to your LinkedIn profile, they want to connect with you. It puts your best foot forward and gets them prepped to do business with you. That's really what if you're using LinkedIn for lead gen, you really want to convey just a bunch of trust that you're professional and that you are a person that they want to do business with. So let's just start at the top and make our way down. And my background is in public relations. And so I always think in terms of like the news and newspaper and headlines and stuff like that. And I think that this is a really good analogy for your profile. You know, in the old days, they used to have a saying for the newspaper, above the fold. I mean, I guess newspapers are still a thing. It's still a saying. But above the fold, if you remember newspapers, or if you've bought one recently, they're folded in half, right? And like you put them, they're in a stack. Above the fold literally mean that whatever was written above that fold was the most important thing, because when someone's walking down the street and sees the newspaper, they only see what's above the fold and on top of the stack. So your profile is really, really similar. The stuff at the top is the most important, because most people will come, they'll look at your profile, they'll scroll down a little bit, and by the time they get here, they're not paying attention anymore. They're really not paying attention more. If someone is really doing their due diligence and wants to know more about you, they will read this stuff. But for the average user, this is all they're going to see. They're going to look at it, they're going to scroll real quick, and then they're going to be done. They're going to move on. Okay. So this part, this is your above the fold. This is where you really want to shine. So you want to take, if like we put percentages, how long should you work on this part of your profile versus the rest of it? Like 80% of your time is spent right here looking at just the top stuff on your profile. So let's start with this, your banner, this background picture. Okay, so very quickly, you want a professional photo that's a little bit engaging, but also gives them information right away. Who are you? What are you all about? And if you want to take it a step further, you add a call to action. So if we look at mine here, and you know, I always like to use myself as an example, and maybe it's because I'm constantly improving, but I always like see things that I get nitpicking. I'm like, oh man, I could improve on this. So I like my banner. I think it really portrays who I am, what I'm all about, but like the marketing right there is cut off behind my picture. So if I was being really nitpicky, I'd probably redo this, move it over a little bit, get it really centered there. But overall, this is pretty good, right? You land here, what do you see? Craig Severson, marketing and sales consultant. Bam, right away. You know what I'm all about, right? And then you see there's also a call to action, listen to the podcast at builttoscalehq.com. So it gives them a place to go find out more information about me. Let's look at the photo itself, right? This is me speaking on stage. You can see I'm on stage. It portrays authority, right? He's a marketing sales consultant, and he obviously teaches. He obviously knows his stuff because he's on stage in front of a bunch of people in that photo, right? So you need something very similar. Get a background picture, get a picture of yourself, or get a picture that resonates with you, and just go to like canva.com. If you don't have access to like Illustrator, or you don't know a graphic designer, go to Canva and just make something really quick. Like you can totally do this. Okay, and then you see the next part here. So that's the most important thing. Second most important thing, your picture. Now you can see I'm going with a theme here, right? Speaking on stage. Why do I want that? Because I want to be portrayed as an authority. I want people to see me as somebody that they would invite to speak somewhere, or that they would trust because I am speaking places, right? So this is another picture of me on stage, right? Now, for most people, if you don't have a picture like this, or if you well, let me take a step back, because the first thing I want to portray is that branding, right? This is all on brand. It's how do I want to be viewed by my potential clients, right? Or also, I'm taking this a step further because I like getting on stages. So how do I want to portray myself to people where I'm applying to speak? What do I want them to think about me? For most people, what you want here is just a headshot, professional. And when I say professional, it's got to be on brand, right? So like if you're Harley Davidson, a professional headshot might be you on a motorcycle drinking a beer, or something like that. Like it might be something that is quote unquote not that professional. But if your brand is not Harley Davidson, it's something, you know, professional, then you want to make sure that it's, you know, you in nice clothing, you looking good, just you, not like a family picture, just you. and make sure you got your face in there, because this is all about building trust and letting people know who you are. Okay, so banner, profile photo, very, very important. Next here is this little title, right? So you can actually control this part. You don't control your name. Your name is your name, right? But this part you can change. Now, LinkedIn was built with the idea that it would be this online resume. So it'd be all about applying for jobs. So when they built this, they labeled this as, what is your title? Where do you work? And lots of people are still using it that way. But remember, you're not using this to find a job. You're using this for lead generation. So we want potential prospects to really be captured by this title here. And if you put your job title, it's just going to be bland. It's going to be boring. They're just going to blow past it, right? So you can see I've got a little formula here that I use where it's like I tell them who I am. I give them a little bit of an idea of what I do, what sort of results I drive, and then I have a little hook of something interesting about me to start conversations. Okay, so founder Brightworks Training, that's my title. That's what I do. I own that business. Business growth consultant. Okay, so what do? I help businesses grow, right? So business growth consultant. And then ex-Disney cast member is the last part there. And I put that because I know that opens a lot of doors. People love talking to me about Disney. I love talking about Disney. It was a fun time. I did public relations for Disneyland. Everyone wants to talk about it. I can't tell you how many messages I get where people are like, hey, tell me about your time at Disney. And it starts a conversation that then can roll into, several possibilities, including sales. Okay, so follow that same kind of pattern, right? Put what you're all about, who you are, maybe your title even, but then give an idea of what sort of results you drive and who you work with, and then something that pops interesting about you. You could put like football enthusiast or crochet master. I don't know what you do, but something maybe a little bit different than just, oh, I'm a business owner, right? Do something a little bit different. Okay, before we move on from this section, by the way, all you have to do to change these is click these little pencils. If you didn't know that, right? You just click this pencil to change your banner. You click this pencil to change almost everything on your profile here, right? You can just kind of follow through it and it'll change all this stuff for you. But this other button over here to the right, edit your public profile and URL. If you notice, my LinkedIn profile is linkedin.com/in/Craig Severinsen. Your default profile is going to be a bunch of numbers and a bunch of letters. You want to try and claim your name if possible. So click that button, edit public URL, and you can actually personalize and change your profile link. So claim your name if you can. If you can't claim your name, do variations. Like I could have done Craig_Severinsen, Craig-Severinsen, Craig Sev. Get a little creative. If someone else, like if your name is Dave Smith and there's a million other Dave Smiths, maybe you add your middle initial, or maybe you add, D Smith or Dave S. Try to grab something unique and something professional. If you can avoid doing numbers, but if you don't have a choice, that's totally fine. No one's ever going to type this in, more than likely, but it does add a level of credibility. And again, it's the little things that lead to big results. We want to have all those little touch points of credibility. Okay, so going back to our profile, we've talked about the banner, we've talked about the link, we've talked about the photo, we've talked about the title. Take a deep breath. That's like 90% of what you've got to do. Right here on the side, if you own your own company, make sure you go grab your business page. There's lots of reasons why you should have a business page, but number one is that it lists your current job right here at the top, where the current company you're working at, and it has that little logo there. If you haven't claimed your page, then it's just this blank box. It doesn't look as good, right? So go claim your business page. Make sure that your logo is updated so that you get a really cool pop there. Again, credibility, that's what we're all about. Okay, so all this stuff to the public is not going to be there. So like all this stuff right here, not going to be there. This analytics, not going to be there. This, not going to be there. Next up that they will see is this featured section, okay? So you want to feature things that grow your brand, right? So you can see I've got 3 things here. I've got 2 speeches that I've given that are really popular, that people like. 3 essential steps to landing more clients faster than you think possible. And my last presentation at Social Media Marketing Week in Lima, in 21, where I talked about the Goldilocks zone of growth. And then I also have a link to my upcoming LinkedIn event, right? I've got that featured as well. So make sure if you've got anything, you could do videos, you could do articles, you could do posts. If you've got anything you can feature, make sure you put it here because people are going to see it. They're going to really like it. Again, building brand. This auto populates as you do content, so don't worry about trying to fill this out. Okay, that brings us down to the about section. And now we're below the fold. Okay, all the stuff we talked about before, above the fold. That's the most important part. Make sure you're spending your time there. This part, actually, I'm going to say that this is the fold. This is where the fold happens. The fold happens right here at this button. So people might look, at your name. They might look at your featured stuff, and then they're going to look at this about section. They will probably read about a sentence and a half. And if you don't capture their attention, they're gone. They're done. Majority of people, this is where they end. So you want to spend a lot of your time crafting these first couple sentences. If it pulls them in, then they'll click the see more button, and guess what? Bam. Now we see the rest of the newspaper, right? It's like picking up the paper, unfolding it. Now we see below the fold as well, right? So I want to take the pressure off of this section because, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's going to come here and want to buy from you because of this paragraph. That's not the way sales work, right? You got to nurture them. You've got to provide value. This is just another one of those credibility checkpoints. So if you have this done, then you are ahead of the curve. But the better it is, the more credibility you build, the more likely you will make the sale. So you want to put time into this, but take the pressure off because you know what? No one's coming here and saying, oh man, they wrote such a good about me section, I'm going to buy from them. No, it doesn't happen. That's just not the way it works. But it is one of those pieces that maybe like we keep adding those pieces until the scales tip and they make a purchase, right? So this is my personal philosophy of how to write this section. I always like to start off talking all about them, how I can help them, how I fit into their world so that they know who I am, what I do, and why they'd want to follow me, why they want to listen to me, right? So, hi, I'm Craig, founder of BrightWorks Training, a growth acceleration service for B2B businesses. Okay, so what do? I help B2B businesses grow, right? So I'm leading with that. I help your business grow. And then I give a little bit of like authority and what we do. And I make a call to action of shoot me a message here on LinkedIn. So there is a call to action in this about section. But again, I'm not overly concerned that anyone really does anything with this. I just want to make sure that it's there, that it's credible, that if somebody reads it, they're going to have a good experience. They're going to be like, oh, wow, cool. I'm excited to follow this guy. I'm excited to read along with what he's doing. And then I like to add a little section that's a little bit more like personal, right? Because B2B, B2C, it's all H to H, human to human, right? Like people do business with people. So I want them to know a little bit more about me as a person. So there's some fun stuff here about like where I've lived, things I like doing, like playing the guitar, Spartan races, Cardinals baseball, that sort of thing, just to add a little bit of flavor and personality to my about section. Okay, once that is done, we're moving on to experience. From here on out, it's just checking the boxes, making sure they're filled in, okay? So just go through and fill this out. Questions people ask about the experience section. How far back do I go? As far back as you want to go. If you're well into your career, you've been owning your business for like 20 years, no, we don't want to see your high school job on there. If you had it, though, it could be interesting, right? Like that might be cool. But you don't have to go back that far. It doesn't matter. The most important part is your current experience. And then everything else below that, the way I like to think about it is this is the story of how you became an expert in your current position, right? So LinkedIn was built to land jobs. It used to act as a resume. It does act as a resume for people using it for that, right? So like they built this so that you just put your experience to make the case for hire me. Instead, flip that script. You're making the case for why they should work with you. So all of these other things that you're doing should tell a story about how you got to where you are and why you're so good at what you do, right? Nobody, though, is going to be reading through these. Nobody's going to care enough to be reading and being like, oh man, there's a typo in the third sentence of no, like Make sure it's there. Yeah, don't have typos, but nobody's going to be looking that closely, so don't worry too much about it. Once your experience is done, add education if you've got it, skills and recommendations, okay? This is another one of the things where you just want to check the box. They want to see that you have it. So reach out to some past clients, reach out to some coworkers, get at least 3 recommendations in this section if you don't have them, and then select some skills that are like important for you, and maybe ask for some recommendations of those or feature those. But other than that, like, don't worry too much about that. And that is the whole thing. There's some other stuff here, but again, that's the important stuff. So that's how you set up your LinkedIn profile and get it ready for lead gen. Follow those steps. Let me know how this goes for you. I know I ran through this really, really quickly, but let me know in the comments, how are you putting this in practice? Was it helpful? I want to know. Until next time, take some fast focus, imperfect action. I believe in you. I got your back. We'll talk soon. See ya.